Well, as I told you before, when we broke away, we were going to come and talk to Brian Bell about the Heritage Moose Jaw. And so, Brian, welcome back to the show. It's nice to have you for a guest. And sometimes when we get talking on the phone, it just gets to be a long conversation because there's just so many exciting things that are going on. Let's talk a bit about what happened this summer. The Moose Jaw. Now, the one was the Heritage Home Tours, which was revitalized. Yes. I couldn't go on it, but you brought me a program, and I thank you for that.
Yes.
What neat adaptations and ability to sustain a home for all these countless years. People who went on it will know what I'm talking about, but you can go ahead and elaborate.
That was the first tour in about 8 years, and we're very pleased because we had a good showing of heritage homes as well as a heritage business. The heritage homes were up in the avenues, of course, and included the heritage building, the Oddfellows Hall, that was converted into 4 luxurious condominiums.
Yeah, I wanted to see what Glenn Heck had done with that.
Absolutely amazing. Each unit is different. Each unit is unique to the owner. They pick the furnishings, and it's just absolutely spectacular. From the outside, you can't tell. As a matter of fact, most of us didn't even know what Glenn was up to until he made the newspaper in the front page. And then shortly after, we gave him a municipal heritage advisory committee for the city. We gave him an award for adaptive reuse of a heritage building, and then he also received the Lieutenant Governor's Award for the same.
Yeah, and the homes were just wonderful. The Gillens, I think it was, their home you're talking about it's maintained its heritage fixtures since it was built. You talked about the sink and I wasn't, so to explain how the sink is for dishes and stuff, and it has racks, and go ahead.
Jason and Karen Gillard bought the home about 3 or 4 years ago. They come in from Alberta, and they're relatively young people, but they just absolutely love the heritage homes, and this one's a true survivor. When they bought the home, the ceilings had at some point been fault ceiling dropped in, and the carpets over the hardwood floors, which they quickly removed the rugs and removed the drop ceiling. In the kitchen, the original cabinet that holds the sink and a built-in drainage for washing dishes, the whole cabinet's metal, and it's an absolutely pristine shape, and they choose to leave it just exactly as it is.
And you've talked about some international trade was the phrase that came out of. One building was rebuilt, but they left a bunch of advertising and on the walls of the building. So which one was that?
That's the building on Main Street that houses Rings and Things. And Troy and Raylyn Tilbury bought that about 5 or 6 years ago, and then they moved to Moose Jaw about 3 years ago. And they have converted the upstairs, or I should say refurbished the upstairs for their office, for their design studio, and they also have some rental space in there. That building was built in the mid-20s, and it was an infill at the time. So when they started to restore it, they found plaster, and they started removing plaster, and this advertising was on both of the previous exteriors of the 2 buildings beside them. And one of them is Mexican chewing gum, and just shows you globalization started a long time ago. But the stairs, it's a bit of a stairmaster going up it, and they creak as you go, and it's the ambience.
You can always blame it on the stairs, not yourself.
Well, it covers our creaking. But it was a perfect example of an old building that's it's actually serving its original purpose as offices and retail.
Well, good. Now, you had other things going on. You had the Wild West show, but that's not the right name for it. But down July the 1st, Ken Mitchell's production that's coming up, and it's starting. And we talked to Ken a bit about it last week on the show, but it's setting the foundation to build towards its 10-year goal of becoming a world, if not at least national, tourist attraction for our community.
I don't think there's any doubt on that. We have a great potential with that. I mean, down in the United States at Wounded Knee, there's 1.5 million tourists a year come to visit that site where the 7th Cavalry and the Dakota Sioux had the famous battle. And Ken asked me to sit on his board from a heritage perspective, and I really truly enjoyed it. He's got quite a cross section, as we were talking earlier.
He's real good at getting people.
Oh, he can sure do that,
Yeah.
and I think it's a perfect plan for that portion of the wild animal park, because it's passive. It's an outdoor theater, so there's no buildings as such, and all we can do is make it better every year. There's a few things that we learned, and that's what we're going to apply next year, as we'll make sure there won't be any vehicles in sight when you're part of the audience, because the authenticity is very important.
Yeah.
That's Ken's show. It's an adaptation, or I should say an expansion of the medicine line.
Right.
And it's a wonderful story that needs to be shared.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, and of course you had the tours in the graveyards, again, because we have fantastic history there.
Yeah.
And fairly well attended, not super attended, but fairly well attended.
I think, you know, a lot of people, many people that have come for the first time they've ever taken a cemetery tour. And it's probably not what they expect, because we don't get into the ghoulish side, we don't go there. What we talk about is the lives that people lived and the contributions that so many of them made, not only to Moose Jaw, but to the Northwest Territories and Canada. And it's 1890 that cemetery was founded, and that cemetery is fairly unique in many ways.
Yeah,
and,
what do you think? It's like 130 years old now.
Yeah.
So that's a long time.
It is, and there still is, people don't realize there's still burials occur there.
Oh, really? So people have got plots
Family
set
plots.
aside, yeah.
That's right. There's no more plots being sold. There hasn't been sold since 1922, but the family plots are still there. So.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing we had in June was the Lieutenant Governor's Awards. I'm on the board of directors of the Architectural Heritage Society of Saskatchewan, and the Lieutenant Governor is a patron in the sense that awards are given every year called the Lieutenant Governor's Awards for Excellence in Heritage Architecture. And two buildings from Moose Jaw this year received awards. Fogelzan Insurance on High Street for adaptive reuse of a heritage building. And if you haven't been in the building,
I have,
it's fabulous what they've done. And it shows that they couldn't save the brick on the east side of the building. They did use concrete panels. The color texture fits in. So you know what? A heritage building being used is a building being saved.
Yeah.
The other building that received the award was a brand new infill beside the land titles building called Bloodline Tattoo Company. And the young man that came to the city with those plans, he already had it, he knew what he wanted to build. He used conventional building materials, and just look at it, how well it fits into our downtown.
Yeah.
And he received an award for new construction, with sympathetic new construction within a heritage district.
And those are wonderful things. And you know what? We've talked ourselves out of time again.
Well,
But there's things that are coming up this year, of course. You know, the Heritage Moose Jaw is a very vibrant group, and they're doing things, and we'll be having activities. So we want to make sure that people have a chance to look at some of those things that happen during the course of the winter. So thanks for taking time out.
well, thank you for having me.
You're going to have a nice chat this afternoon about volunteerism
That's right.
with the group. So that'd be very a good thing to have. And if you want any information about Heritage Moose Jaw, you can contact Brian Bell at the
692-6332, or email bell.b@sasktel.net.
Okay, and that's where you find out more about it.